All right. Welcome back, everyone. You ready to jump into the world of the Bank Nifty today?
Absolutely. Always an exciting one.
Yeah, yeah. And we got some pretty interesting analysis here predicting, the Bank Nifty's moves for tomorrow, March 18th, 2025.
Mm.
It's painting a pretty bullish picture, but might be a few bumps in the road, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's not all smooth sailing, even in a bull market.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure you, our listeners, are, prepped and ready to navigate those twists and turns.
Exactly. Got to be prepared for anything.
For sure, for sure.
Um,
So, for someone who might be listening who's not super familiar with the Indian stock market, can you give us a quick, relatable definition of what the Bank Nifty is?
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine like the heartbeat of India's top banks all kind of bundled into one index. So,
Right.
it's tracking the performance of those big players in the banking sector, gives you a good sense of the overall health and direction of that sector.
Okay, cool, cool. So it's like if the Bank Nifty is doing well, it's probably a good sign for the Indian economy as a whole.
Yeah, generally speaking, you can kind of think of it that way. Of course, there are always other factors at play, but it's a decent indicator.
Got it, got it. So, we've got this analysis and it's saying bull market, which, sounds great. But you mentioned bumps along the way. What's making this analysis so bullish in the first place?
Well, a couple things. One of the biggest is that the Bank Nifty has been consistently trading above its key moving averages.
Okay, and moving averages, remind us again what those are all about.
Right. So moving averages, think of them like a way to smooth out the daily ups and downs of the market and see the bigger picture trend. So, if you're looking at like a 50-day moving average, it's basically the average price over the past 50 days.
Right, right, yeah. Makes sense. So it helps you kind of cut through the noise and see if things are generally going up, down, or
Yeah,
sideways.
exactly, exactly. And in this case, those moving averages are pointing upwards.
Okay, so it's like Bank Nifty has been on a winning streak, consistently outperforming its past self.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And on top of that, we've got the MCD, the moving average convergence divergence. It's a momentum indicator that's currently flashing BUY.
Oh, okay, so another positive signal. But I'm guessing there's always, more to the story, right?
Always. The MACD basically looks at the relationship between two different moving averages. And when it gives a BUY signal, it's basically suggesting that the upward momentum is strong and likely to continue.
Got it, got it. So we've got this upward trend, we've got this momentum indicator backing it up. Seems pretty solid,
Mm.
but what's the catch? What are those potential bumps you were talking about?
Well, even when things look good on the surface, we can't forget about the bigger picture, the global landscape.
Right, yeah, what kinds of things are we talking about?
Well, global events, especially those involving the U.S. Federal Reserve, their interest rate decisions can cause ripples across the entire global market. And that includes impacting something like the Bank Nifty, even if its internal indicators are looking strong.
Okay, so it's kind of like even if things look rosy in India, a sudden change in U.S. interest rates could throw a wrench in the works.
Yeah, absolutely. Those kinds of external factors can definitely shake things up. And on top of that, the analysis also points out this thing called the RSI.
RSI, okay, that's the relative strength index, right?
Yes. And it's basically telling us, how strong the price movements have been recently. And right now it's getting pretty close to what we call overbought territory.
Overbought. Okay, now for those of us who, maybe aren't day trading every day, what does overbought actually mean? Is that a bad thing?
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean a crash is imminent, but it does suggest that the current upward trend might be running out of steam a little bit.
Yeah.
Imagine a runner sprinting at full speed. They can't keep that up forever.
Right, they got to slow down, catch their breath.
Exactly. So overbought is more of a caution sign, hey, things might slow down, could even see a little pullback. It's just a reminder that, even in a bull market, there are going to be those periods of consolidation or even those dips.
Got it. So it's more like a signal to be watchful, not necessarily a reason to hit the panic button.
Exactly. Just a little yellow flag.
Okay, okay. And, speaking of those potential ups and downs, the analysis also gives us some specific levels to watch for, right? Like those resistance and support levels.
Yeah.
Almost like a roadmap for the day.
Yes. Those are super helpful. So think of the resistance level, which the analysis says is around 49,750. Think of that as a potential ceiling. If the Bank Nifty breaks through that convincingly, it could signal further upward movement.
Oh, okay. So if it breaks through that resistance level, that's a good sign for the bulls.
Right. But on the other hand, we have the support level, The analysis puts that around 47,250, and that acts as a potential floor. If the index falls below this level, it might indicate a shift in sentiment towards the downside.
Right, right. So it's like a battleground between those who are bullish on the Bank Nifty and those who are bearish, and those levels are the key strategic points.
Exactly. And it gets even more interesting. The analysis actually outlines potential trading strategies based on these levels, both for, those who think the upward trend will continue and those who are anticipating a pullback.
So it's like, regardless of whether you're, feeling bullish or bearish,
Mhm.
this analysis gives you some concrete tactics to consider.
Yes. Of course, it's not financial advice or anything like that.
Right, of course, of course. We always got to say that. But it is interesting to see how the analysis can be, used in different ways, depending on your risk tolerance and your investment goals.
Exactly. It's all about how you interpret these signals and how they fit with your own personal investment strategy.
Right. Like, are you comfortable riding the wave of a potential bull market, even with the risk of a pullback? Or do you want to play a little safer, focus on protecting your capital? That's something each listener needs to decide for themselves.
Absolutely. There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
So it seems like the big takeaway here is that even if, the overall outlook is positive, even in a bull market, staying informed and being ready for those swings in the market, that volatility, that's crucial.
Couldn't agree more. You always got to be prepared for the unexpected, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this analysis wraps up with a really interesting question. It asks, what's your Bank Nifty target for tomorrow? So I guess they're challenging us, challenging all of us listening to do our own research, look at the data, and come up with our own conclusions.
Yeah, I like that. It's empowering. It's not just about blindly following someone else's predictions.
Right, right. It's about educating yourself, becoming financially literate, so you can make your own informed decisions.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, especially in the world of finance.
So yeah, keep learning, keep exploring.
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe you'll be the one writing the next Bank Nifty analysis.
Maybe you will.
All right, that's going to do it for our deep dive on the Bank Nifty today. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for having me.